I love making very simple Zobo recipes without too many spices or too many ingredients generally. I love it when my Zobo has some hints of that tanginess or, that sour Zobo taste. And when I add too much spices to my Zobo, I end up not enjoying it because it confuses my taste buds. So to make this Zobo, you are going to need some pineapples. I used 4 pineapples for the amount of Zobo that I made. I made about 7 to 8 liters of Zobo. I used 4 big pineapples. After blending the pineapples, you add them to a cheesecloth and you strain out all the juice. If you have a juicer, then you don't need to go through this. You just need to put it in your juicer and extract the juice. One thing you should not do is to add the pineapple juice to your Zobo while you are boiling it. When you extract your juice, set it aside in your fridge or your freezer, then add it to the Zobo when it has cooled down completely. Once we are done with our juice and we have stored it safely, we go over to wash our Zobo leaves. You need to wash your Zobo leaves thoroughly. Don't say, oh, the color may go off when I wash it. There's actually enough of that essence in it that even when you wash it, you still boil it and get a very good amount of Zobo. There is usually a lot of sand, a lot of dust from the Zobo leaves themselves, so you need to wash this out. You can see that there is a lot of sand at the bottom of the container, and I'm going to sieve it gently to make sure that I don't lose most of my Zobo leaves while washing. So I'm done with washing my Zobo leaves. I prefer to use these tiny types of Zobo leaves because you actually get a more concentrated Zobo drink from these. And can you see the sand at the bottom? You really don't want to be cooking these in your Zobo drink. Now that everything has been thoroughly washed, we are going to transfer our Zobo leaves into a clean pot where we'll be cooking the Zobo. So we have added our Zobo leaves into a pot, and what I added now is crushed ginger, and then I'm going to add the chaff from the pineapple juice that we made earlier. This is just to ensure that nothing is wasted. And then for our next ingredient, we're adding nutmeg. Yes, if you haven't tried nutmeg in Zobo before, this is your hint to try it, and I can assure you that you're not going to go back to having your Zobo any other way. So you grate like a quarter of a nutmeg into this amount of Zobo leaves, and then I added some cinnamon powder. That's all the spices we are using in the Zobo. We're just using ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Like I said before, I don't like making my Zobo with a lot of spices. I limit it to ginger and 2 other spices usually. Now we give this a good stir and we allow it to cook. Now, like I said, this is a very important part. The way you cook your Zobo will determine if it would come out very having that deep reddish color without adding any coloring. Don't overcook your Zobo. Once it has boiled up, once you open it and you see that it has boiled and the leaves are kind of turned, that is enough. You cover it for about 3 to 4 hours until it is just slightly warm to the touch. Then you sieve it out. So don't overcook your Zobo. Just boil it until it comes to a boil once, and then you cover it and keep it until it has become just warm. Don't leave it until it becomes completely cold. Just lukewarm to the touch, and then you can go ahead to sieve it like you see me doing. So that's actually the secret to having deeply colored Zobo, in addition to using enough Zobo leaves. The truth is, even if you use enough Zobo leaves and you overcook your Zobo, it is going to start losing its color because of the exposure to heat. So you shouldn't overcook it. And now I filter it, and I double filter my Zobo to ensure that I get out all the little particles of those spices that I grinded in it. So this is me filtering it again, and you can see what I have. I didn't add anything like beetroot. I saw people saying you can't get very darkly colored Zobo unless you add beetroot or something. You don't need to add anything. Just use enough Zobo leaves and don't overcook your Zobo. Also, the time that I said I left for 3 to 4 hours to cool, if you are making a small amount of Zobo, you may not need to leave it for up to 3 to 4 hours. So if you are depending on how much Zobo you are making, that's what will determine the time. So at this point in time, you now bring out your pineapple juice that you have stored in your fridge or in your freezer, and then you add the Zobo to it when the Zobo has completely cooled. Don't add your pineapple to your Zobo when it is still very hot. It kind of dulls the taste of the pineapple, or I really don't know how to describe it, but the best thing to do is to leave your Zobo till it's cool, and then you add your pineapple juice to it. Another point I want you to note is that Zobo should not be kept just in the fridge. Keep your Zobo in the freezer, because it goes sour easily, it goes bad easily, since we are not adding a preservative. This is home use Zobo and you don't really need to add any preservative. But if you want your Zobo to stay for a longer time, put it in your freezer. It will stay for many weeks without going bad. However, if you put it in the fridge, you may start seeing that it tastes off after a while. So all you need to do, drop it in the fridge, and when you want to use it, you bring it out and then you allow it to defrost, or you bring it out and put it in the fridge overnight. You see that it has defrosted a bit. That's one of the things that makes Zobo to go bad easily when you don't store it properly. So let me know if you'll be trying out this simple Zobo recipe. Let me know in the comment section. And if there's any other type of Zobo, I make many different types of Zobo. So if there's another type of Zobo you'd like me to make, do let me know. Also, I did not add the parts where I added a sweetener, because some of us in my household don't take sweet Zobo, so I usually leave it unsweetened, and when I want to take it, I add some date syrup to it or sugar as I want. So you can actually sweeten it if you want. That is optional, and that's why I didn't capture it on the camera. Until I upload the next video, thanks for watching this one.